friends, family, and curious onlookers. It's Jake with the Roaming Homesteaders coming to you live from Northern California. Again, live but not live. And I am out in the yard today watching the snow melt, and we are gonna pick back up right where we left off with our chicken projects. Today I'm gonna show you how to build a quick and simple hoop coop. So if you've been watching the channel, you've probably seen that I built a lot of chicken coops recently, and I got the bug again because we got some chicks that are gonna be going up to my parents' house, but we need somewhere to keep them for about a month outside. They're growing quicker than I thought, and the coop up at the parents' house is still buried under 4 or 5 feet of snow. So I gotta get a temporary project going here that we can then load on the back of a trailer and take up there later, and it's just gonna be a busy day. So a few of you have asked why you don't see a little more detail about what's going on here. I think I've explained we live in town and my parents live up in the mountains, and that's really where we're kind of focusing a lot of our homesteading activities later. I've got a garden here at the house, but we're shifting all of that up there because I rent and they don't. So we're working on these projects, and I look at this as sort of a staging area here at the house. But today we're gonna get this hoop coop going. It's not a unique hoop coop, but I'm gonna try to walk you through it. Maybe not step by step, but you'll get the big, you'll see what the big things are, and you get the main, not ingredients, but the main supplies that we need to use. And we're gonna get this thing going because we need some bigger space for about 24 chicks for about a month. And then we're probably gonna use that as a turkey enclosure later on, but I'm still thinking about all that. But anyway, like I said, it's party time here at the hacienda, crunch time. We gotta get some stuff done today while the sun is still shining. It's beautiful out. It's probably about 50 degrees, which is surprising because it snowed all day yesterday. And it's just been a very, we'll call it a schizophrenic winter. It's normal California one day, and then it's like the East Coast for the next week, which is great because we need all the water, but it's kind of throwing a wrench in the works. I was telling my wife yesterday, I can't believe that it's, March 10th already, and I haven't planted my spring seeds yet. Normally I've got a couple hundred tomatoes and peppers growing in the garage. I do have onions that I planted back in January, and I just haven't been able to plant them out in the garden yet because of all this snow. So it's been an odd winter. I'm looking across the street here. We have cherry trees in full bloom, and 6 inches of snow melting off the ground. So just one of those days. But I got to get cracking. We got some stuff to do, and I'm hoping this is the start of a few more interesting projects. I know a lot of people have been excited about the big garden that we're building up at my parents' house and kind of seeing that, but we've had to go so quickly that I haven't been able to make it sort of a how-to. It's just sort of a project overview, and you've been able to see the progress as we go, and people are interested in a little more how-tos, but it's that sort of time on the year. Anyone who's done any homesteading for very long knows that sometimes you just get so busy that it's hard to keep up with everything, and you can't always stop and record it all. But we're gonna try to give you some highlights and give you a few more peeks about what we're doing here, and just kind of showing you. Our preference would be to go somewhere like Idaho or Tennessee or Montana or wherever else anyone's picked these days, and just get the heck out of Dodge and say, see you around, California. But our family situation is such that we're probably going to be here for a bit, so we're gonna make the most of it. Rather than sitting around pining away for what we don't have, we're going to be thankful for what we do have. Try to make the most of it for as long as we can, and it gives us opportunity to practice. So if we do find ourselves able to finally go, we'll hit the ground running. So anyway, let's get started with the project today, and I'll show you what we're going to be doing. All right, the first thing we're gonna do here is we're gonna cut some wood. So, like I said, this is I don't wanna say cheap and easy, but it's a fairly simple hoop coop, which is constructed using 2x4 wood, cut to various lengths and screwed together, and then a couple of cattle panels. So it's gonna be about 8 foot square and about 6 foot tall, and then it's gonna be covered on the outside with chicken wire and plywood and a tarp and some other things. You'll see how it comes together. But the first step we're gonna do is we're gonna build the base. And the base is just 4 2x4s, in this case, pressure treated 2x4s. And it's gonna be drilled so that I'm creating an 8 foot square. So 8 foot by 8 foot. And then I'm gonna put wheels slightly offset on one side so that I can pick this up and move this around. Not super easy, but it'll be portable enough. And we're gonna get that base going. So right now I'm gonna cut the 2x4s, screw them together into an 8-foot square, and get the wheels on. Okay, now that I've gotten the frame together on the base out of the pressure treated wood and the two wheels, we got the wheels bolted on. You know, you might take a look at these wheels. I ended up moving one of them. I was experimenting on whether they would be best on the inside or outside. I decided they should go on the outside so that they don't interfere with the cattle panel that I'm gonna bolt on the inside. So they're both on the outside now. They spin freely. You know, I don't know how well they're gonna work. This is sort of a bit of an experiment, and I'm probably gonna chalk it underneath with some blocks when it's stationary so that it kind of fills in that you know, 1.5 inch or 1 inch gap where the wheels are at the bottom so that things can't get in underneath and get to the chickens. But you know, it's an experiment. The next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stretch the cattle panel, and we're gonna strap that in place so that we have the foundation of our basic frame to work with. So let's get that on. Okay, you saw me struggling there a bit with the cattle panels, getting those in place. I just took my angle grinder and cut off a piece of the wire on the bottom so that it fit over my 2x4s that I have on the corner braces. That's not going to affect structural integrity at all, and it made them fit down there nicely. This is sort of a two-man job. It'll be a lot easier to be a two-person job getting these folded over so they're not springing all over the place, but you saw that I was able to get it done by myself. So as long as you're careful and you think through it. And now that we have the cattle panel stretched, I can go along the bottom and tie in the straps and get those set on the bottom so that the panels won't shift around. And then I'm gonna go along where they overlap. They do overlap about 6 inches. Where they overlap, I'm going to go zip tie it all the way around. Now that I have the cattle panel stretched out and secured on the bottom and then zip tied along the middle, we can start building the ends. One end is going to be where we have sort of a faux chicken coop wall, and the other is going to be the end that we have the actual door. So I'm going to go ahead and frame this up. It doesn't have to be exact. You can just see sort of what I'm doing. I'm just arbitrarily picking distances and angles based on other plans that I've seen. Again, this is supposed to be a fairly straightforward build. It's not exact dimensions. It's just something that I'm putting together. I'm not slapping it together, but I am being creative in how I approach this. So haven't decided on how wide the door is going to be yet. I haven't decided, where I'm going to go. But what I do need to do is build vertical elements to strengthen the roof, and then some sort of, beam along the top. And there's different ways of doing that. I'm going to link some plans below so that you can see that. But again, this is just what I'm choosing to do as I'm organically putting this thing together and seeing how things go, because nothing ever goes as planned. And if you're not flexible, it's not going to be, functional. So again, there'll be links for plans. And if you're that type of person that you want to have exactly, to the 1/4 of an inch dimensions or whatever, you can do that. I'm not doing that today. So I'm showing you sort of the overview of generally how this works. So I'm going to go ahead and start on the 2 end walls. Hey, we're back to work after 5 days off for rain, where we got 8 inches of water. So everything around here is flooded today, but the sun is out and it's beautiful, and it's back up into the 60s. So I'm gonna get out here and take care of a few things with the Hoop Coop so that we can keep rolling with that, because we got chicks that are getting bigger every day. We need a place to put them temporarily before we move them into the chicken coop up at my parents' house. So I'm gonna go ahead and seal the untreated wood on this Hoop Coop, and we're gonna go from there. It's time to get the chicken wire on the outside of the Hoop Coop and to stretch the tarp on top of that so we can actually start using this. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish up that part of this job, and then we'll think about what we're gonna do for the backside. You know, one of the things I really like about homesteading is that you get to apply all sorts of different skills that you may have learned, or you get to practice new skills. And, construction is one of those things. And the beauty of homesteading is, there aren't really building codes when it comes to these sort of projects. It's not that there aren't building codes that relate to your homestead or your place or wherever you're at, but sometimes you have to consult those sort of things, like where you place your chicken coops or whatnot, but it's not as rigid. And if you live in a state like Idaho or Tennessee or some of these other places that are, they can be pretty remote, or people aren't as strict about these things, then there's a lot of room for creativity in what you're building. So you can get out in nature and you can build something and you can be creative and you can put something like this together, and you can look at something that other people have done and then you can modify it and make it your own. And, it's just for me, it's an opportunity to, get those creative juices flowing and just really enjoy the process in a way that isn't so limited. It's almost like when you were a kid and you're playing with Legos. You can follow the directions and you can build something, or you can just tear into a big bucket of loose Legos and build something, that comes to you as you're building it. And before you're done, you've got a spaceship or a pirate ship or, a cool hideout or a castle or anything your imagination can make. And, that's one of the aspects I really like about homesteading. Now, once you've pulled your chicken wire over your hoop house, you can do this one of two ways. I've seen people just stretch it down and then put another board of trim on top of it, like shims or something, and just staple that or screw that in so that you have a solid grasp. Or you can use what I'm doing, which is just more of my pinhead screws. So, I'm just gonna use these and go along the edge here and screw these in, and hopefully they'll hold it down. I won't have to worry about that, but I'm trying to keep this thing lightweight, so adding a whole bunch of more wood would add weight, and I don't want to be pushing that around even with the wheel. Hoop Coop build didn't quite go as planned. Other things caught up to us, including wet weather, poor health, and spring garden work on the homestead and at my parents' house. But we were finally able to finish it, and it served well before the chicks moved up to their new mountain home. And now we're looking forward to raising turkeys in it very soon. We hope this episode inspired your own homesteading journey. If you like our channel, please subscribe and click the notification bell for more great content. And as always, thanks for watching. Bye.